The fascinating thing about any museum collection, and Shetland collection too, is that every artefact is a piece of the jigsaw of our history and our culture. And that's especially so with archaeology, where you have no written records. So you're having to look at each individual thing and see how it fits into that bigger picture. What story does it tell? This is a display case that we put on to celebrate and also highlight the Felsite artefacts. We've been doing a project with the University College Dublin with Professor Gabriel Cooney, looking at the Felsite dikes where the raw material is quarried and just the process of what was happening in Neolithic Shetland at that time. That's when the first farming communities were here and settled. So you're speaking about 5,000 to 6,000 years ago, they were making these knives. They are so thin, polished to such an edge. They're unique to Shetland and they seem to have two purposes. There's quite a few that we find that have definitely been used. So they're a working tool, they're a knife, they may have been used for skinning animals. Then there's also the ones like Dr. Fojut found, where they're so perfect and they've never been used. They're really sharp, very highly polished, and they are definitely ceremonial items.
I came to Shetland for the first time in 1974, a university field trip, and rather fell in love with it. I got money at the end of my first degree to do some research up here, which was into the Iron Age and the Baroques. I found this lovely little hoard of knives. One day in 1978, I think it was July, I'd been over in Midwas and was heading next towards Sanis, and rather than going up the valley, it was a bit boggy, I thought I'll go over the top of the hill. And there in the eroded peat was a nice, shiny, smooth-looking stone, and I looked at it and I thought, oh, if I was a wishful thinker, I would think that might be a Shetland Neolithic knife, and walked over to it, and it was.
And how they were found in the hills, side by side, shows that they were a votive deposit, something that's given to their gods. It's part of their ideology and religion. Whether it was in the hope for better weather for their harvests, we'll never know that. But there's definitely a ritual element to them. What was so special about Noel's find is the quantity of knives together, a hoard.
There was 19 in the hoard. That's the second biggest group of those knives that's ever been found. Finding something like this, I think it did make me think, well, maybe I was meant to be an archaeologist. People could dream about or work their whole lives and never see anything like that.
I also think that they're special just because of their sheer beauty. That's why I think that they're art pieces. They're so highly polished, showing the different crystals within the rock, making such lovely colours like this one, which is the peachy pink colour on the grey. They're really pleasing to look at. And there's so many different types. And so they were obviously choosing the rock that they knew would polish up to make them so beautiful. Another interesting thing is the distribution of these knives around Shetland. They turn up in all areas. The Felsite is only found in North Maven, so were the Neolithic populations trading these?
I've been on record, long ago, as saying that Shetland's probably got more wealth of archaeology than any other part of the British Isles.
I've gone into people's houses and seen a Felsite axe on their mantelpiece, and that's fine, but it's nice to know where they found it. So we really encourage them, if they're happy, to bring them in so that we can record them, just for us to see and photograph. It's important for Gabriel and his team so they can see the distribution of these throughout the island.
There's still huge potential here for new things to be found, and found by chance as well. Just people going to unusual places, as I did that day. That's the chance of finding something that was just lying there waiting to be discovered.